Hello, I'm Chris Conley with Anthem. I'm here to speak with you about our implementation of MazeMap. So, as I said, I'm Chris Conley. I am an executive architect for Anthem, primarily covering collaboration and digital building technologies, which is a good intersection of technologies that have come together through the use case of MazeMap. So we're going to primarily talk about the implementation at our Atlanta Technology Center, which is a large campus that we have recently built in Atlanta. So in that facility, we already had Cisco wireless infrastructure that we were able to take advantage of with the MazeMap solution. And thanks to that, we have allowed our employees to be able to find rooms, find resources, and be able to find their way around the campus. And it also integrates in with our WebEx room devices and some kiosks and other things that we have around the building. Moving on. So where did this start? So we would say, how did we sell the concept of wayfinding at our organization? I think the number one thing was trying to get folks to understand what wayfinding is. I think when we used that term, most folks kind of looked at us sideways and had no idea what we were talking about. So what we used to do was to try to talk about it in a consumer sense. So we always spoke to our executives and other sponsors of the project to say, look, we're bringing the ability that you already have today on your mobile device or your desktop, where you go to Google Maps or Apple Maps and you're able to see where things are, how to get there, be able to view information about the things that you're trying to go see. Once we sort of painted it in that way, folks were like, oh yeah, I definitely want to be able to quickly pull out my phone and find something just like I can today anywhere else. So really, again, it's just bringing that consumer concept of mapping inside the enterprise. And again, that really landed with most of our folks. So then the concept of why do we need this sort of comes up, right? So, while it's cool and everyone agrees that that's nice, why do we want to spend the money? Why do we want to spend the time and the resources to develop this solution for our enterprise? So the number one use case that we tried to say was like, look, in a large campus environment, especially where you have folks who don't go into the office on an everyday basis, or you have a large number of folks who are traveling to the office, this is a real natural fit, right? Because nobody wants to show up to a building and be confused and kind of get thrown off their game, right? So usually you're going there for a meeting or a presentation or whatever you're going for on site, right? And you want to be able to feel relaxed and comfortable when you get to what you're trying to accomplish and not have to stress and think about how do I get there? What is the space I'm looking for? All that kind of stuff, right? Even as simple as if you've already found the meeting room, it's like, okay, well, now where do I go get where do I go fill my water bottle? Where do I get a coffee? Where do I go to the bathroom? Where do I need to go to find the printer to print out my, my collateral for whatever my meeting is, right? So this helps us get those folks to relax and be comfortable in the work environment so that they can focus on their work and not focus on all of this other stuff that becomes noise. And then really is continuing to build on that, right? So even for folks who are frequent users of a building, what can make their lives easier when they're right? What can improve their experience in our building? So it's really adding additional convenience. And so for them, they're looking for things, right? They might know where all the conference rooms are, but do they know where the nearest conference room is that's available at that moment? Do they know where the nearest conference room is that's perhaps a size that's different than they usually use, one that's bigger, smaller? Maybe they need a specialty conference room, right? Maybe they are looking for a different printer or something that they don't usually use because the one that they usually use is offline, right? Could be a million things that they could potentially want to look for in the building. And again, we're just trying to make it so that they don't have to go search around and look, or they don't have to go find that one person who always knows where everything is. Now we can make everyone be that person who knows where everything is by using the mapping technology. So once we sold the idea, it really came down to how the heck do we make this happen, right? So how do we apply the concept to an actual building that's been built? So step one, fairly simple. We worked with our architects to get us the most updated AutoCAD files. We got ours in a DWG format, provided those to the MazeMap team and to our partner, Planet, and they took those files and they beautifully turned those into the maps and digitized our building, right, for us. Then once we had it digitized, I don't want to say it looked boring, but it didn't have all of the layers and all of the like nice iconography and all this other stuff that we really wanted to be able to make the map pop for folks and really make it land. So again, MazeMap and our partner Planet really worked well with us to create nice style guides, great iconography so that folks understood what was going on, color coding of different areas, and it really made the maps look completely different. It didn't just look like this big kind of beige thing with lots of lines, right? It actually created some depth and some color. The non-technical folks looked at it and they said, ooh, this looks really nice. Which at first, I mean, as a technical person, I kind of thought it was funny. But in the end, it really does look different. It really makes it easier to navigate and to quickly look at things once you have all of that nice sort of design built on top of the actual just technical map itself. The second part to that was figuring out what do we actually want to call out on the map, right? So these are the points of interest. And I'll be honest, when we first started, we had like a laundry list of points of interest that we wanted, from like, where are the paper shredder bins, the coffee machines, like a million things that we thought like, oh, people will want to find that. And with the experience of MazeMap and with the experience of our partner Planet, who helped implement, they basically sat down with us and said like, hey, look, you don't necessarily want to have this sea of poise all over your map because it's going to confuse users and it looks kind of messy and it really doesn't help accomplish what your goal is. So they really helped us zero in on what our users were actually going to find helpful. And we cut out some of the stuff that we thought was noisy. They added in, they told us some things like, hey, you should include defibrillators. We had not thought of that. They were definitely on all of our floors with lots of signage where they are, but we hadn't thought about putting them on the map. So lots of great ideas. It was a really good collaborative experience between us and the MazeMap and the partner to get that locked in and get it looking nice and getting it so that our users can really get the most value out of the map. And then, of course, the last part is integrating it in with all of the other gear that we had, right? So this is adding more value to the map, right? The map is great if it's just a static map, but once we can start adding in more layers into it, it gets even better, right? So first thing we did was that we actually took our existing WebEx room endpoints that we have. There was a macro that we put on all of them. And so they were able to pull the presence data from the camera sensors on those devices. And they were able to pump that into DNA Spaces, which then uses the Firehose API to pump that into MazeMap. And that shows you the real-time availability of the room, not just, hey, is the room booked or not booked? This will even tell you, hey, if the room's not booked, but there's people who have decided to go in there and sort of crash that space and use it, that there are people in there. So you don't waste time walking over and the room, it turns out it's actually full. You can save that time. Just go to the room that's actually empty, that's actually available, and use it, right? So super helpful for us. And it's also really nice that you can see that on the map in real time, right? So you can just pull up that map, even if you don't want to use the button that says, hey, find nearest available room, and you just want to look. You can just quickly see, okay, here's the busy rooms, here's the not busy rooms. Go forth wherever you need to go. So works great. Next part of that was integrating it into, at first was Prime and CMX for us, but we've now moved to DNA Center. And so this allows us to have real-time location for folks when they're navigating the building. So just like in Google Maps or Apple Maps, right? You're the little blue dot bouncing on the map as you're walking along. This gives you that same ability. So again, using our existing infrastructure, we just created that integration. And now our folks can see themselves on the map. It gives them great directions that say, you know, hey, turn right now, turn left now, go up the stairs, take the elevator, whatever the heck they need to do to go find their destination. Works super well. And then the last part was we integrated it in with our Microsoft O365 instance. And this allowed us to do two things. One, it shows the room status from the booking of the room's resources in Office 365. So when the room is booked, it shows that it's booked, so you know you don't have to waste your time going there. If it is not booked, it shows it is available. Again, this plays back into the presence sensor data that we talked about at the beginning of this sort of bullet. So those two work together to show the true availability or not availability of a room. The other really nice part is that if you're looking at that map and you see that room is available, instead of having to then leave MazeMap, go back into Outlook, and then find that room resource and book it, you can simply click inside MazeMap and you can book that resource as you, right? Not a service account. Books it as me, and I get my room reservation and off I go. And now my room is booked, off I go. If I want to add a meeting invite to it or whatever, I can do that after the fact, but it quickly allows me to lock in the room that I knew was available at that moment so that I can go do what I got to do. That's how the sort of high level of how we actually manifested this once we got into the building. And then, of course, how the heck did we get users to realize that this existed and to use it? So a never-ending struggle, of course, getting folks to use your great technological innovations that you put in your enterprise. But for us, we started out simple, right? We have an intranet site that is sort of the primary information source inside our organization. Simply posted up on there with announcements, created a static page so that folks can see information about the solution itself. We also are a big user of digital signage in our environment. So we created some nice advertisements that we could post inside our digital signage platform so that when folks were in the elevator, walking around our campus, they'd be able to see advertisements of, hey, have you tried MazeMap? Nice little QR code on there. You can scan it, move off, right? And then, of course, email newsletters, getting a little more old school, right? Send out those email newsletters that really, it wasn't necessarily just about MazeMap and wayfinding. We had other email newsletters that were going out around the building and folks moving in and things of that nature. And we would have a little paragraph included that would just give folks a heads up of like, hey, do you want to find easy way to find meeting rooms? Hey, do you want an easy way to find anything else? Here you go. Here's how it works. And then the last thing we did was when we had folks were first returning back to the office, we actually had a poster that we printed out on like a placard that we put in the lobby of the building with QR codes that were able to launch MazeMap directly from it. Again, just advertising the fact of like, hey, here's this new thing. And really it was sort of the final leg in our media blitz, right, as we looked at it to try to get folks to understand that the platform is there. What's not written here is obviously word of mouth too, right? So definitely spent time getting the executive assistants and other administrative type folks who are the people that people usually go to say like, hey, where's what, or hey, how do I do X? Make sure that they understood that the solution was there, make sure that they would evangelize it out for us to again, help drive that for folks who somehow ignored the internet site, the digital signage, the email newsletter, or the poster when they walk in the door. But those people exist, right? So now we want to just go over how do users actually use the solution now that it's in place. So for us, we have three primary use cases that we envision. I'm sure our users have found other great ways to use it, but these are the three that we typically focus on. So number one is one of our associates is going to be attending a meeting. And so the number one use case here is, again, just like Google Maps, right? So like I always use the analogy of like, hey, if one of my friends invites me to go out to dinner with them, the first thing I do is I look up, okay, where's the restaurant? How do I find it? So I can look at directions so I understand it'll take me, X amount of time to get there. And then I also usually, of course, you can click Street View and you can be like, okay, hey, here's what the front looks like, so that when you're walking down the street and you're like, all right, I look like I'm getting close, and you're like, there's the spot because I recognize the picture. We do the same thing with MazeMap, and our associates really like that, right? So well before the meeting, folks can pull it up on their desktop computer. They can look at where their meeting room is. They know, okay, am I going to be leaving from my desk? Am I going to be coming in because I'm driving in? I'll be maybe in the parking garage. Maybe I took public transit or an Uber's dropping me off at the front door. So maybe I want to do the directions from the front lobby. And they can do those directions. They can see their path ahead so they can sort of envision how do they get there. And then at the end, they can click on the room that they're going to. They can see a picture of the room. And so that when they get there, if they don't, if they don't trust that the directions were correct, or maybe they put the phone away and they just kind of walked, they see that picture and they're like, that's my room. I remember looking at the picture because that room had the green door or the plant or whatever the heck it was that they keyed in their mind that equaled that room, right? Where the furniture looks a certain way. So that's one of our really great use cases. Then the folks, that same use case is when they actually show up at the building. Then they can pull up their mobile device and they're at their, say they just parked their car, they get out and they're like, okay, how the heck do I get to that meeting room again? They pull up their phone, they click on the link, boom, there's those directions telling them to walk to the elevator or the stairs. They get to the elevator, their stairs, it's telling them to go to whatever floor. They go to whatever floor, tells them to take these turns, right? Boom, they're at their spot. No worries. Easy navigation to their destination. Again, allows them to focus on the purpose of their visit, not the actual journey to get there itself, right? That should be a seamless, mindless activity. Number 2 use case is an associate who's already in the building. So maybe I'm in the office, I'm sitting at my desk today, and someone says, hey, I want you to attend this meeting and it's in X room. And I'm like, okay, I have no clue where X room is. Maybe it's because I sit on the 12th floor and I never go to the 17th floor because I don't have a need to. But my meeting that I'm going to that day is on the 17th floor. And I'm like, gee, I've never been up there. I know it looks different than the 12th floor. How does it look? And you can quickly pull it up on the map, figure out how you get up there, what you do once you get on the floor, all that kind of stuff. Make it nice and easy. And then the other part of that is like, hey, maybe someone invited me to a meeting that's remote. And I'm sitting at a desk and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to sit at a desk. I would like to go sit in a meeting room because it's a nicer experience. I don't have to wear a headset, all that kind of stuff, right? So I need to find a spot to go sit. And again, I could go in Outlook and I could go scroll through the list and mess around through resources and all that other kind of jazz. Or I can quickly pull up the map on my device and I can just pull up the map and see, okay, what's available, what's not available, click the one that looks available that I want. Or I can click that find nearest available meeting room button that's right there in my MazeMap. And it will automatically say, okay, here's the closest room to you that's available for the time period that you requested. Boom, it finds it, click a button in there, books the room for me, and then I can simply go walk to that room as soon as I'm ready to take my meeting, join on the room device, off I go. Didn't really have to think about it a whole lot. Nice, seamless journey for me for that. And then the last use case that we focus on is for the folks who are scheduling and hosting these meetings, right? So it could be an executive admin, it could be a project manager, it could be, someone else who's hosting a meeting, whatever your role is, right? But you're trying to facilitate meeting. Could be even a meeting that crosses multiple buildings. It could be needing to facilitate a meeting for someone who sits in a different building than I sit in. So I might not have any clue where the meeting rooms are in that building. So it allows me to be able to pull up the map, find the meeting room that meets my needs, right? Maybe I know I need a banquet table at the back of the room so that, because I'm going to be a really nice host and I'm going to provide coffee and pastries for my nice first early morning meeting, right? I can look at the pictures of the room, can see that really nice and quick, easy, boom, done. All right, that room is perfect. I want it. Maybe I know that someone else only likes to sit at high top tables for whatever reason. I want to find a meeting room that has high top tables. I can do that again. I can look in here. I can click on the pictures. I can see that there's a high top table in this meeting room. Boom, I can book it. I can see another room has a low top table. I can skip that and say, no, I know that this person doesn't like that. It really allows you to lock in and find the exact meeting room that fits what you want. And it's much more feature rich and more informative than just simply scrolling through the list that's in O365. So those are our three primary use cases that we have for our users. So we were talking about this a little bit earlier. This is how do you actually use this once you're in the building, right? So this is real-time position. Again, it uses our Cisco, pre-existing Cisco Wi-Fi integration, or Wi-Fi implementation, sorry. And so again, it allows you to just be able to walk down that hall. It tells you where you're going. This is also the part that uses the find nearest functionality, right? So this is how it knows where you are to then scan what that nearest conference room is that you're looking for. Makes it super easy. Nice little fun fact that we learned during this journey of implementing it was that these routes can be sort of programmed. And so we had certain floors where we have staircases that intersect the two floors. So we made it so that, like, hey, on those floors, it doesn't tell you to go up the elevator to go to the second floor. It tells you to go up the stairs. That's also made our HR folks happy because it was trying to help promote healthy behaviors and things of that nature, right? So lots and lots of really good stuff that you can do with the indoor positioning and the routes that it programs up for you folks. And it was really easy to set up. Like I said, if you already have the Wi-Fi in place, the odds are you can do this pretty easily. This gets back to the meeting room availability. So again, you can see on this image that the orange rooms are the rooms that are busy, so not available, whether that's because they're booked in Office 365 or whether that's because people have just walked into the room in unbooked status being shown from the WebEx room devices. It just really helps folks be able to quickly see what rooms are available. Also, interestingly, like we've used it for other things where like people have been like, hey, how busy is a floor? Things like that, right? Some of our facilities folks have used it for that, where they can quickly bring up the map and they can kind of get a really nice and quick and easy idea of like, is the 12th floor busier than the 14th floor today? Yeah, because all the rooms are full on the 14th, but all the rooms on the 12th floor are empty for some reason. Don't know why, but at least you can see that information. So even for more than just simply booking, we've found a lot of sort of little interesting use cases for the fact that we have the real-time availability of the rooms available now. And this is the resource booking. So you can see a nice little screen capture here of what it actually looks like as an end user. Like I said, it's very simple. You can see there the picture, so you can figure out what the room looks like. So you can kind of scout that room before you decide to go use it. And if it's the room that you want, you can book it. And again, it has a book now and a book later option. So book now kind of for, hey, I'm get up from my desk. I need to go get a spot to go meet because I don't want to sit at my desk and use my headset today. Great. But book later, again, that's for those executive admins, meeting hosts, project managers, things of that nature, right? Where they're looking for just the right room for whatever their reason is, right? Maybe they want some certain seating type, or they want that banquet table, or they want dual screens versus single screen, or whatever the heck it is. This allows them to be able to see that. They can book it out into the future, and then they don't have to take that extra step to go back into Outlook to go find it. They can book it directly in here and save themselves a little bit of a flow. So works great. Users enjoy that a lot. And then this is another option that we put in. So you can see here, this is where you come out of the elevators in this building. And so we did this for two reasons. One, for folks who perhaps didn't have a mobile device, or for folks who are not on an Anthem issued mobile device. We use a feature called private maps from a security standpoint. So you actually have to be on Anthem's network, whether it's wired or wireless or VPN, doesn't matter. But the request has to be sourced from Anthem's network in order to display the map. So if you had some folks in here who did not have a device that was capable of that, what this allows them to do is to be able to walk up, and it's just a touchscreen display that we have mounted into the wall. And they can come in, they can look for the meeting rooms. It's all the same functionality that you have on the mobile client or the desktop client. It's just a little bit of a different interface. Because the use case is slightly different, right? You're not on a mobile phone or a laptop. So works real well. Again, all the same stuff. You can see the real-time availability of the rooms. You can see whatever iconography we have. You can see there's even a where you are button. There's a little red person with a circle around them in the center of the map, right? That's right where the kiosk is. So you can even still do find nearest available conference room and things like that from this device. So it allows you to have that full functionality right when you walk up to it. And also it has a QR code that pops up, and once you pick a destination and you do the directions, So you can move that onto your mobile device if you have a mobile device that's on our network. If you don't, you can snap a picture and follow the point. Not as nice, obviously, but that's a security standpoint thing for us, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, the kiosks have been good. The other part about the kiosks that we like is that it also is another piece for adoption, right? Every time folks walk by, they see this map of the building. And we've had a number of folks who've just walked up to it and started playing with it and been like, gee, I didn't know I could do this. And then they'll end up asking questions around like, oh, how do I make this work on my laptop? Oh, how do I make this work on my mobile device? I mean, there's a big button that says scan here for a QR code to put on your mobile device, but sometimes people still ask. And so we'll sit with them and we'll explain it to them, or we'll point them to articles that we've posted so that folks can continue to learn about the solution. Like I said, just another way to bring this solution to folks. And that's really it, I think, for us. So really appreciate you taking the time to let us share our experience with rolling out MazeMap in our enterprise. Have a great day.